to the program. This is the Bon Voyage Hot List. I'm Michael Graham. This is my co-host, wife, and boss, Kelly Graham.
Hi,
And
everybody.
hi, Kelly. And we are joined by Miss Betsy Burks from Silversea, our friend, visiting virtually today. How are you
Hi,
doing?
everybody.
So the Bon Voyage Hot List is actually a program that we do to talk with suppliers that have trips on our list. And the list on paper kind of looks like this. Of course, it's really a digital thing that you find at tripswithme.com. And two of our trips on that list are with Silversea. Okay, so here's what you do. You just type in www.tripswithme, hit enter, and there you are. Boom, the Bon Voyage Hot List. You'll see all of our upcoming trips just like this. And
We've got a lot of exciting things, Michael. Thank you for asking me. Good to see you, Kelly. I am a vendor, but I'm also y'all's friend. So just sure everybody out there in virtual land knows that a little bit about Silversea, but we take our travel partners very seriously, and they've been working with Michael and Kelly for a number of years. They've become personal friends, and I know that they work very hard taking care of you. Silversea, we've been in the business since '94, but we're not exactly a household name. We started out as a classic luxury cruise line, probably one of the first true luxury providers. And then in 2008, we purchased an expedition ship and kind of got in the expedition market. So I'm proud to say that Michael and Kelly are featuring two programs of ours on their hot list. One is Expedition to the Galapagos, and the other is on our brand new hybrid, fabulous vessel that just came out, the Silver Nova. So, Silversea has always been luxury. Everything on board exudes luxury, but we're not stuffy. I would say, we've got a lot of fine features, such as all the excursions are included. Everybody gets butler service. All the gratuities are included. It's always suites. It's not any of those dark inside staterooms that you used to have when you first got into the cruise, and you'd wake up in the middle of the night, think, "Oh my God, I've gone blind," because it's truly the darkest place in the world. But everybody has a small sitting area, and we take good care of our people. I think that probably the biggest, the greatest thing that we have is our clients, and they become family on board to us as well. And we try to treat them that way, and probably know your drink preferences by the second or third night. And
100%.
yeah,
100%.
so
we didn't
those
know
little touches.
we didn't know we had not been on Silversea until 2019, where we kind of got really fortunate that anyone could sail to Cuba.
I know.
Just
I didn't
like
get to
that
go.
short window.
We did.
And so we got a beautiful cruise all the way around, and it wasn't just Havana like so many do. We got to go to Havana, but also we got to go to Cienfuegos, and just circumnavigated the whole island, and even spent some time in Bimini. So
It was pretty remarkable.
I wasn't sure. I brought a tuxedo on that one, and I wore it to the first formal night, but then I realized, you don't have to go to the formal night. You can go eat at the grill, or you can go eat out somewhere else. So
well, and I think that was one of the coolest experiences for me on my first time, was the utilization of the pool space, which is the first time I had ever experienced that on any line. And I had always thought, who doesn't like al fresco dining? Don't all of us love that? And you're in the middle of the ocean, and it's nice outside. And so to be able to transform this space that was the pool deck during the day into this beautiful, lovely, and wonderful dining destination, I think that's so unique.
Yeah. That is actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Kelly, because that's it's a great venue on all of our vessels. We do a lot with the dining space. One, we put in a pizza kitchen upstairs because, everybody wants pizza all the time. And it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner pizza is always, appropriate. And, but then we have the Hot Rocks Grill. and so that people can dine outside, and it's great, especially sometimes when you're leaving a city at about that hour, or just sitting and watching the lights in the city, or cruising. So, but that's been great. And so, if you don't want to dress up, you don't have to. We have other dining options and so forth. But it's kind of fun to have that option. And I think that also says a lot about luxury, because luxury is about having options. It's about having choices and not always having to do the same thing every night. And but
Right.
since it's all inclusive as far as beverages, you may not even know that you're dressed up later.
Well, and for me, we travel so much that when we get home, we are home. We don't go
Uh-huh.
very many places. And so sometimes it's nice to put on something besides my pajamas to go to dinner.
Exactly, exactly. It's
Oh,
that long commute from the kitchen, from the bedroom, from the couch to the kitchen. So,
I was talking to him about this one cruise we're doing 36 nights all the way
uh-huh.
from Tokyo to Alaska and then Vancouver. And he's like, that's a long time on there. He said, I haven't been on Silver Sea, but I'm just guessing that the waiters are going to be rude and arrogant, stuffy. And I was like, let me tell you a story. And this is a true story.
Oh, I
Kelly
don't
and
even
I,
know what's going to come out of his mouth right now.
we were docked in Havana. And at the same time in 2019, I don't know if you know this song, but it's like Havana Unana. And it was really hitting its prime at that time, and we were in Havana, most everybody for the first time. I mean, we hadn't been able to sail to Cuba, including the staff. So probably me, I kept playing that song over and over all the time on my phone, and I wasn't paying attention. We walked right into the dining room. She's like, turn that down, turn that down. And the waiters came over and they're like, no, 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 no. Hand it to me. Turn it all the way up. Turn it all the way up. And they were dancing to Havana Na Na. And it was fun for everybody, including the other passengers, because there we were in Havana,
I
right
love
at
it.
that moment. So it couldn't
I
be
love it.
further from stuffy than that.
And I
No, no, I mean,
100% support Betsy in what she said. Probably before the end of the first day or the second day, everybody knows what your name, what you like to drink, what your preferences are. It's very, very high level, but very comfortable service.
they really do their best. I think we live in a world, in the United States, we're just so blessed, and these people work so hard to make you happy, to make it happen for you. And I always say that we can always fix problems, we can't fix complaints. So, if anyone ever has anything on board that they need or they want or whatever, they really try to make it happy. We'd always want to hear about it. But yeah, one of my favorite Butler stories is that we were in the Arctic, and we were out on a there was three couples, and we all did a Zodiac cruise. And we were really cold, but we came in and we're like, okay, guys, just go drop your life jackets, and then we're gonna all meet in the bar, and that was kind of our thing that we do each afternoon. Well, everybody walked into their rooms, and the butlers had taken those flameless candles and drawn baths for all of us and put them around the bathtub, and I swear it was like 6 inches of foam, bubble bath in there, bubbles. And so we all started calling each other and it's like, okay, well, we'll be down, but my butler made me a bath. And I have a friend that went with us, and he was a single that went with us, and he called and he goes, Bets, he goes, I hadn't had a bath in 45 years, but the butler put my gin and tonic on the other side of the tub. So I knew I had to go in. And it was just that little extra that made it fun. That's the memory. I still remember the polar bears that we saw, but I particularly remember, what they did and made our trip extra special. So it's those little things, really is.
It's true.
Fantastic.
But speaking about little things, though, I have to say, I've been lucky to be the Galapagos 3 times, and I know that you all are planning on going next year. We have the most beautiful ship in the Galapagos. The Silver Origin is by far, I think, the most luxurious. She's well appointed. The food is wonderful, but again, when I think about that destination, it's the Ecuadorian people. It's the people that we have on board. They just they up the game. I mean, when you see the blue-footed boobies, you think that, the expedition staff have seen them, zillion times. But every time it's like it's their first rodeo, as we say in Texas. You see my guy in the back, but it's just, they have that passion, that they love what they're doing as far as the expedition leaders. They have that passion on board about, the chef and what he cooks for you. And sometimes if you make the comment that, well, wow, I love this dish. And Kelly, I know that you're a foodie, and uh, it's that, you may have the recipe on your bed that night when you go to bed, because they take that all in and go the extra mile. So
I love that.
yeah.
We went when we have been to the Galapagos. It just wasn't on Silver Sea. It wasn't a luxury cruise. So like for me, this is going to be the best of both worlds, because you get to see this exotic, unique flora and fauna and all these animals and giant tortoises and marine iguanas and all of those things that you can really only see there.
Yeah.
But then you get to go back and stay on the Silver Origin, which I have only seen video and pictures of, and it looks just stunning. It is a stunning ship. It really is.
She's amazing. In the back we have a fire pit, and not really a pit, but a fireplace, whatever you want to call it. So when we're getting, the pictures that the artist had done before the ship came out, I'm like thinking, yeah, that'll be one of those flameless candles back there. And I mean, how, I thought, well, that'll be pretty sad, but no, we actually have fire at the back, and it's, well done and well covered and everything like that, but they light it every night. It
Nice.
does get cold out in the water sometime, so it is so cool to be sitting back there, and you can take the most beautiful pictures. But thinking about you in the Galapagos, Michael, how is your knee? So because if I can give anyone out there in virtual land a tip on expedition, go now. If any destination, if Antarctica is on that hot list, even with another line, or the Galapagos or whatever, if you are thinking about going to any expedition destination, put it higher on your bucket list. The knees and the hips will not last forever, and you want to be able to get out and walk and enjoy the destination. We do our best to get you in and out of the Zodiacs, but that's just part of getting to take part in these kind of things. So just make sure that if you're thinking about it, put these up higher on your bucket list.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's our philosophy in travel in general is, we're going to do the further away and the international travels now, and then, after we retire, maybe RV and go around the US, with slow travel like that, and
Well,
putting
not only the slow
expeditions in
travel,
front of
but
that.
you've got the ADA requirements in the US that, help with that as
Yeah.
well.
Exactly. Very good
Yeah,
point.
we have a lot of clients that get mad that there's no ADA in Europe or other places, and I'm like, the A stands for American. Like it doesn't go out of there. And certainly not for expeditions. And so the Arctic, Antarctica, Northwest Passage and the Galapagos, all these things are, I'm actually hoping to retire and be an expedition leader. So
Oh,
if you want to pass that on to,
I will.
I would, and Kelly, you're going to,
You're gonna send me to the galley?
okay, well, you can be a co-expedition leader then.
So I would say the Silver Origin is kind of like glamping, because you get to go and do all of the, activities and the excursions and be out in nature, but then you get to come home to absolute luxury and really comfortable surroundings and phenomenal service and phenomenal food.
Exactly.
And you get to take the boat from point A to point B instead of wasting that time traveling by road or other means.
Yeah, or by
Exactly.
little boats that try to take them, in a nice ship is the best way to see the Galapagos.
Well, and it's also, though, I have to throw this in. I don't have children, but I have worked with so many families. It is the best multi-generational program out there.
I can see that.
If anybody wants to take their kids and their grandkids, or just don't even take the kids, just take the grandkids. We don't get a lot of children on Silver Sea, but but we do get we get some, you know, here and there. Alaska and Med, they're usually well traveled, well behaved, but on Galapagos, we get more and more every year because it's such a fabulous destination for kids. You know, grandma can be, you know, and grandpa can be in the Zodiac and they can snorkel with them if they want, but if they don't want to snorkel, they can watch them snorkel. You know, our team is always there to if anyone's ready to get out of the water and you know, and make sure that everything, you know, is conducted safely. But it's a destination that I can't think. I always say, give them a Mercedes, give them a memory and not a Mercedes. If you're going to leave your children something, it's something that, you know, it's just totally priceless that they'll always remember.
It is.
Absolutely.
And our trip to the Galapagos with Silver Sea is in December of next year, 2024. And it does include your air from Charleston. If you're local watching this, we can't do it from Myrtle Beach, but you can do it from Charleston, which is a great place to fly from. We do it all the time anyway. And you'll fly into Quito, and you correct me, Betsy, if I leave something out, but we'll
2
you
nights
stay
in
at
Quito. And
Yeah,
usually it's a beautiful JW Marriott, which is a great location.
is.
It's a great program. We do breakfast every morning. You kind of get there in the middle of the night. Usually the flights arrive real late. So then you've got a full day, and then we do a tour in the evenings because sometimes during the day it's just too hot. You know, it's just you are on the equator, but you know, there's always suggestions. You can go to the Equator Center. You can shop, imagine. And then, but there's, you know, beautiful churches and a lot of history in Quito. Then then we take you back out to the airport. We have an early morning charter, which then flies from Quito to Guayaquil into Baltra. And then we board the vessel. You board the vessel by Zodiac. And you, every time you get off in your luggage will board, you'll see this big Zodiac.
It have its own Zodiac.
With all the suitcases on it. The whole process is magical. And, you know, while you're, you know, in the Zodiac, you'll probably see, you know, just a bunch of wildlife and you know, birds and everything on the way out. And it's just, you know, your adventure begins. But that ship is amazing. We get on the surveys, we get like 10 out of 10. It's perfect.
I remember from Cuba that you guys, there was a lot of people that had already sailed with you before.
We have a high repeat ratio, and you know, and especially the expedition. You know, a lot of people, you know, once they get on and they find out, okay, this isn't, you know, like roughing it. This is glamping, as you mentioned earlier. So I can for, you know, I can like to see these places. You know, they make it really easy. So
Yeah, it really does. It really does. So, to find out more about our Galapagos trip, you again just go to tripswithme.com. You can email me, Michael at mgatravel.com, or call our offices at 843-279-0310 and just ask for our Galapagos trip. All of the trips on the list are scheduled to be escorted. Some of them are already guaranteed. On the other trip that we have with you, which is the 36-night immersive Japan, and then we cross the Pacific and stop in the Aleutian Islands at Dutch Harbor, and then go to Sitka, Alaska, and we go through the to Ketchikan and then down the Inside Passage to disembark in Vancouver.
mm-hmm.
And we're talking about 2025. So this will be April. This trip will start on April the 3rd, 2025, and we will eventually get to Seattle by May 10th. So that's quite a trip.
It is, but you'll love it. You'll love it.
Yeah, and we're taking the Amtrak Cascades from Vancouver down to Seattle, and that is a beautiful, if you haven't taken that route, it's the only Amtrak route I really like, but it's very scenic, and that's why they gave it its own name for that train. It's just a beautiful ride down.
An added bonus to the second half of this trip is getting a ride back to the United States on Silver Sea instead of a long flight to and from Asia.
A very long flight. I mean, it's the whole reason, you know, we started looking at this trip we call it cherry blossoms and samurais, because before we even get on the Silver Nova, which is a brand new ship, just started sailing this summer, I think,
This August, yeah.
this
Uh-huh.
August, we're gonna spend several days in very boutique luxury in Tokyo and take the bullet train to Kyoto. And we're spending several nights there, and it's very inclusive. That is going to be hard to beat. So that's why we went with Silversea, because then we're going to stay at the same level of luxury. And we looked at, said, oh, we could get off on the 23rd of April in Tokyo. The ship does have disembarkation that day, but then you got to fly. You know, that's a very long flight to get from Tokyo to the East Coast of the United States. So we looked at it and said, well, the next sailing, it goes to North America. That's a no-brainer.
Now, only a brilliant travel agent would think of that. I have to give you and Kelly lots of credit, and we can talk about why to use a travel agent later, as I have a good story on that one. But that's brilliant. That's brilliant, because if anyone's traveled, you know, you want to spend less time in an airport or on an airplane and more time, you know, in the destination, or traveling through the destination, or on a beautiful vessel. So,
and even, you know, even though there are several days at sea, it's necessary to get across the Pacific. I mean, we realized this on another crossing we did recently. It's like, so you get to sleep in a couple of days, and then everything's included, and there's only like 4 awesome restaurants to choose from, you know, for 3 meals a day, and an open bar, and everything's included.
right.
And you're being served, and you don't have to clean anything. Like, wow, what a nightmare.
Well, there's eight restaurants on the Silver Nova.
Excuse me.
So you've almost got 3 times, and plus room service. So wasn't included in that count.
Yeah,
So,
I know. I'm looking forward to those days. I am
yeah,
looking forward to those
yeah.
days.
You sound like my husband. He loves the sea days. So yeah, but
And
that's
then,
that's a beautiful itinerary.
but yeah, Dutch Harbor. I didn't even know. Kristen in my office told me when I was talking to somebody else about this trip, that have that deadliest catch.
Oh my God, we have, so one of our included excursions in, I can't remember, it may be Sitka, but one of our included excursions is the Deadliest Catch. And these guys are animated. They take you out on this, the owner of the Deadliest Catch boat is on there, and him and his wife, and they're really good, fine people. And they take you out and they show you all the different ways that they catch, and they tell you stories. One of the hands, I don't know if he's still with them, you know, or not. I mean, hopefully he's still here on the earth, because he had to be in one of those chambers because he came up too fast.
Oh, hyperbaric.
Yeah, hyperbaric chambers. And we actually, you know, he showed us where it was. I mean, it was like, and it was amazing. It was amazing, because, you know, and that's a thing too. You think these included excursions, oh, another city tour, another, you know, 3 churches, or another castle or whatever. But we have some of the best included excursions. You know, I just got back from Portugal, where we did the toboggan. The guys are behind you, and
I saw that.
the toboggan ride. It's on, you know, big on TikTok. But I mean, some of these excursions, and I couldn't believe that the Deadliest Catch was one of the excursions that we included. It was so fun. You guys were amazing.
You better sign us up for that one, Michael.
I don't know if they have that on this itinerary or not, but I have been going through with helping other people that are already booked onto in our group on this trip. And so it's time we can start looking at shore excursions. And so I've helped everybody. There's 16 of us so far.
That's right.
And we've gone through all the excursions, and almost nobody picks anything except the included ones, because they're so awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a great value. You would be spending $100, $200 per person every time or more on these tours, and they're all included.
Well, and that is a good value, because on my employee tour, on my employee cruise, we, you know, they give us a complimentary cruise, but I, you know, just to add to the value, but when, you know, I have to pay for the excursions. And so when, you know, we were up, you know, at least $1,000 a person, my husband and I, you know, paying for our excursions, and I get a discount, but they were well worth it. But I'm thinking, you know, wow, what a value in the price of the cruise, especially when, you know, the shore excursions are included.
The value of making the financial commitment to this trip, to this journey, and then being done with it and not getting on board and pulling out your wallet every time you order a coffee or a glass of wine or a bottle of water, or go to the shore excursions desk and get your room bill that's higher than it costs you to get on the ship in the first place. And there's just that to me is luxurious
Yeah.
to be done with all of that, and just you want to buy somebody a glass of wine or a drink, and there's no strange obligation or just
Exactly.
any weird feelings. I mean, it's just that's luxurious to me.
Well, and
Yeah.
every time you have a drink at the bar, you're not having to have a ticket brought out and signed for your bill,
Yeah.
or carry your, your package around, your sticker for your package or something. I
Right.
mean, it's just literally, it is the luxury of everything is paid for up front. I mean, it's
Yeah.
done. You're not nickel and dimed. That's luxury. Also,
Well,
luxury is just your lead-in suite. Your lead-in category is 300 square feet with a walk-in closet and a big bathroom, and I think that's on all your ships, at least
yeah,
300.
it is.
And that's,
And I
people
have
don't
to
realize
say,
that's huge, especially on a long journey like this.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And you have the shipboard credit if you want to get some, spa treatments and stuff like that. But I think a lot of times you're hard, it's kind of hard to spend that extra good stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of value in the Silversea product, and of course I think that, but always buy insurance. You know, I wouldn't go out of the house without it. So I even buy travel insurance for myself and my husband. So always buy insurance and always use an agent. Kelly, before you got on, I was laughing with Michael because next week, Vance and I are going on a round trip to Dubai, and so we were doing our Saudi visas. And he's on his computer. We're both kind of computer savvy, and I'm on mine, and we're doing this, and 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 we're almost yelling at each other. Well, no, almost is not the word. We were yelling, but I said, I said, I wonder if there's a study done of couples that put trips together that don't use a travel agent, because I would think that the divorce rate for those couples would be much higher than for the couples that say, hey, MGA Travel, please take care of me. And, here's my money, because, there's a lot of components between the hotels and, these
There's a
trips that
lot.
are already put together for you. And what visa do I want? Michael was helping these people, with their shore excursions, which I think we make it about as easy as any cruise line.
You
So
do.
don't be, stressed about that, anybody. But, when you've got somebody that's been there, done that, and asked all the questions for you, I wouldn't leave home without one. So, but I thought that was,
Travel advisor saving marriages around the world.
yeah, I love it. I love it.
So you mentioned I'm a foodie, which I am, and I'm really excited about the new offerings on this Silver Nova. Of course, the name of it is completely escaping my brain right this second.
Oh, the salt
Yes,
program.
salt. I was
You know what?
thinking,
You will love the salt program. It's funny because now we have the salt program on the Moon and the Dawn, and then on the Nova. And the salt is our Sea and Land Taste program. It's our cuisine program. It has several components, of which one is the Salt Lab, and it's like a cooking school. But the cool thing about it is that it's actually, you get to make something there, you get to eat it there. And so it's not just sitting in a theater and watching someone, looking up at the mirror and watching their hands and so on and so forth. It's a chef, and we have a lab environment, and everyone has a cooktop, and everybody, we have the ingredients, all dished out and prepared a little bit. Then we show you how to put everything together, and we made a soup, a wonderful soup, which actually my husband has made several times since we've been home, and that's only been about a month. And then we made a sandwich. But the cool thing is it reflects the flavor of the area. So when you're in Asia, you could be rolling sushi, you could be doing all different sorts of things. Maybe when you get into Alaska and those waters, you may be fixing, have salmon recipes and so on and so forth. the Salt Kitchen is our restaurant, which always has a menu. It's open for, lunch and dinner, and has a menu that reflects the area that you're in. So when you're in Asia, it'll be Asia and so
Nice.
forth. But it also even dives a little deeper. And when you are, for instance, when you're in Tokyo or when you're in whatever certain city, it will be food from that certain area and not just an Asian menu in general. You'll still have that other menu, but then you'll have choices that reflect, what's going outside your window. And
Nice.
it's wonderful. And then there's the Salt Bar, and it's curated cocktails. You go in there and say, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, but I like something that's fruity. I like something with gin. I like something that's, and if they don't have something on the menu that's perfect, then they will create one for you.
I love
And
that.
you can have it every night and several times a night.
I love
30
that.
nights.
And
30
then
nights.
for sure, we do have salt excursions. They are usually an additional charge because they're really a small, intimate experience. But I know that one that's a personal favorite of a lot of people's is making mozzarella in an Italian family's home.
Oh,
So we
wow.
could take the entire ship to do that, but you'd be, at their house, making mozzarella and then, enjoying it with them after.
Mm.
Well,
So
on this
it's
trip, I think we'll be making sushi or something though.
fun. Sushi and salmon.
Sushi and salmon. That we could call the trip that.
And I
That's
love,
right.
I love from a culinary perspective that is how it's done, because I think that in this industry, that's been a big missing component for cruises. And I remember being on a ship many, many, many years ago in the waters of Alaska during the summertime, and on their menu they had Atlantic salmon. And I was like, the fish are running into the boat, but we're going to import it and bring it with us. So I think that that's
Yeah.
a really, really, really cool thing, and another way to add another layer of the experience of being in a destination.
Well, and for every salt lab that I've been in, for the cooking, we've actually had, and I don't want to make any promises because I don't know if this just happenstance, but the 3 times I've done the salt lab on the vessels, the chef has also reflected that part. We just had a Portuguese chef, and then the other 2, I had a Greek chef, and then we had an Italian chef that actually taught the classes. So, and we happened to be in those certain parts of the world, but it was pretty cool. So,
Well, I don't normally make any sales types things in these Bon Voyage hot lists, but because Black Friday is right around the corner and there has been a Black Friday sale, I will mention that on this immersive Japan to Majestic, Alaska, 36-night journey, you're gonna get a complimentary 2-category upgrade on the Silver Sea Nova, a $1,000 per suite onboard credit, which you could use towards salt or the spa or one of those non-included shore excursions if you're so inclined, and also $1,000 per person air credit. So that's an incredibly rich offer, and it's good as long as we have room and until Black Friday. So if that's of interest to you, go to tripswithme.com and look for, they're in chronological order, so go to April 2025 and pick our Japan to Alaska cruise. You'll be joining a group of us on a trip of a lifetime, really.
So Betsy, since you've been on this ship, what's some insider knowledge you can give us?
well, there is, we do have a self-serve laundry facility, not on the Origin, but on the others. So I just think, go and enjoy. If I can give anyone, any word of advice, go now, because you just don't know, we may not have that choice to go later. So go now, and gosh, drink lots of martinis. Let's see what else.
I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. After
I think that there's so many, great things that are available on board. Just take advantage of all of them. One of my favorite places is the Arts Cafe. I think, it's a great place to hang out. But I think just, with anything, it's not a track meet. You can do as much or as little as you want to do. You know, don't do anything you're not comfortable doing, but also feel free to try it. And but our ships are so beautiful that if you just sit on board and sip a cocktail, sip a glass of tea, you'll still have a wonderful time. So so let's go and enjoy, but go now. You know, go now and buy the insurance and use a travel agent. Use YouTube.
I like it. Very good advice, Betsy.
Well, you know, sometimes I've had to learn the hard way. Okay, so, but when it comes to losing money, I can be a quick learner. So
Me too. Me too. Well, I want to thank you, Betsy, for joining us today. You've been great. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's more fun when we're all together in person, but
Well,
we've
at
got
least
some
there's air
distance.
conditioning now. There wasn't a month ago.
Oh yes, we were in. Last time we saw you was last month, wasn't it? We were
Oh.
in Playa del Carmen, I think.
went to the oldies. I have to laugh though. It's so hot, and I do love a nice, you know, air conditioned ship. Normally, and that's a great play for why would you use a ship as transport in, you know, Europe and stuff like that, because those hotels are just not set up for the air conditioner. But I can usually hang meat in my suite if I need to. I keep it so cold.
All right. Well, it's always a pleasure, Betsy. Thank you very much.
Thank
Kelly,
you
thanks
all.
for hopping on today. And thanks everybody for joining us. And I hope you can join us on an upcoming trip, tripswithme.com. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
I